Hey there, Gunpla fans of YouTube. It is I, once again, DZ Maven, here with another Gunpla review straight from my desk in my Gunpla Reviews unscripted review format. Anyway, I have the Real Grade Nu Gundam, RX-93 Nu Gundam, from Char's Counterattack. This kit came out in August of 2019 and retails for 4,200 yen, which puts it around the $40 mark, so it's leaning towards the more expensive side of real grades. So, alright, so let's switch over to the photo view and take a look at my gallery here. Alright, so here's the box art. Pretty nice looking box art. It is a large box, but it's also a very narrow box at the same time, so it's very thin. Sometimes I kind of wonder if Bandai could have condensed it into more of a standard master grade, with the smaller rectangular master grade box instead of the really flat box, but this is what I chose to do here. Anyway, you got some information on the side of the kit here. Usual stuff. It's translated so you can read it at your leisure. This just gives you an idea of how thin that box is here. And here's what you get inside the kit when you open it up. Runners, bags, and a manual. Anyway, let's go through the manual here real quick here. So, construction of the kit is, if you built any of the recently released real grades, it's pretty similar to that. Very similar to the, well, actually, I was going to say the Force Impulse Gundam, but technically that came out after the Nu Gundam. So this is still in the range of the newer real grade style, so it's kind of more like a mini master grade as opposed to the older real grades that had a lot of the advanced MS joint going throughout the kit. This kit doesn't have that. It only uses the advanced MS joint for the fin funnels. Other than that, the rest of the kit goes together pretty easily. It's not as complicated as I thought it would be. I mean, especially coming off of just recently finishing up the Real Grade Zeong. Real Grade Zeong has a hell of a lot more going on inside of it than the Nu Gundam. So the Nu Gundam actually feels kind of simple by comparison. Let's see, this backpack. There are some few folding flaps on the backpack, and there are some parts of the kit that kind of They look like they're supposed to be for like to open up to expose the interior of the kit, but they're really not for that purpose from what I've seen. They're really more for just opening up slots to attach the heavy weapon system parts onto. There's really nothing you can really see inside of them when they open up, so I know some people make a big deal about that in reviews, but there's really not a lot to it. I'm just going to be honest about that. Fin funnels. You get 6 of them. Here's that advanced MS joint. So in this little piece right here, that's it. That's all you get for the advanced MS joint for this kit. Now, I never actually built the Master Grade Nu Gundam Verka before. In fact, the only other Nu Gundam I've ever built is the High Nu Gundam, the old Master Grade High Nu Gundam. And the fin funnels on that don't actually attach together, they just kind of stick onto the back. But I have heard a lot of people had trouble with the fin funnels on the Verka kit. That it would kind of fall apart easily. But the fin funnels on the real grade seem to stick together pretty well. And I've heard people generally think this works a lot better. So, not that I have a whole lot of first-hand experience with that, but I just want to point that out. Stickers. It's not super heavy, even though the sticker sheet seems kind of big. You actually don't use all of the stickers on the sticker sheet, so you will end up with some leftovers you can do with whatever you want. Here's that sticker sheet. I always like having leftover sticker markings because I like to use them on other kits, so it's kind of a plus for me. So runners. Here is the A runner, or multicolor runner. This green color, this clear green you get for the eyes, and the one little camera on the torso. This is UV reactive green, so it's kind of like the green Psycho Frame and like the Unicorn Gundam. It'll light up when you use a UV light on it. Pretty nice, even though you don't really get to see too much of it on the completed kit. So to get this nice little beam saber effect part, I really like this. I think it looks really nice. There is some decent internal detail on the parts. It's not super heavy detailed, but I think it's definitely, you know, more than you would see on a Master Grade kit. Here's that advanced MS joint. Again, it's only for the fin funnels. Here's our first runner of the white. Mostly fin funnels here. Parts for the legs, the hands, and side skirts. It is a very plain, bright white. Here are parts for the shield, the head, the beam sabers, the hyper bazooka, beam rifle, and our little Amuro ray figure right there. Here we get some very dark blue. It's almost black, but these are for the fin funnels right here. Runner, the same with that really dark blue. Parts for the feet, backpack, hyper bazooka, torso, legs, feet. More parts for the torso, beam rifle, and backpack. G, this is our internal frame, just gray, straight polystyrene plastic here, no ABS here. Leg parts for the leg frame, knee. Let's see, we got some, yeah, I think this is all leg parts on here. Yeah, it looks like it's all legs, except for these little thruster bells. These go on the, I think those go on the backpack, I believe. More internal runner, back of the shield, beam rifle, hyper bazooka part, parts for the waist. And looks like we got parts for the inside of the chest. And I think parts for the arms as well in the backpack here. Yellow, some yellow. It's kind of a nice yellow color. It got a slight tint of orange to it. Again, parts for the fin funnels here. V-fin, shoulder vents, chest vents, leg vents, and toes, and parts for the backpack. Here is more white. Now this white is actually a little bit of an off-white, so there are two tones of white in the kit. You have that bright standard white, and you have the slightly off-white, slightly grayer. Again, parts for the legs, heads, singular head. And some parts for the arms. There's more of the slightly grayish white here. Parts for the shoulders, skirt armor, and more parts for the legs here and forearms. Some more gray. Second internal parts for the head, arms, the hands. You do get fixed pose hands. The action base connector is this thing right here. I'll show you how to attach that on when I get to the live part of the review here, that view, because that's actually a little bit of a process to get that on. Two very important things to know about that, but I'll get to that when I get to it. And you get one set of standard beam sabers. So you really only need one saber, and that's for the backup saber on the forearm. The other saber you don't really need. You can use it for something else if you want. Here is the internal frame of the kit put together here. It's a pretty nice looking internal frame. It's not, I don't think it's really as super detailed as what I saw with the Xeon, but I think it's definitely a step above from what I've seen from Master Grade kits of late, so I think it looks pretty good. Here's just some more shots of the internal frame. And here's the back side. I did paint the little tubes on the back of the knee. I just think it looks better that way. You know, it's just, I like to do a little bit of painting on a few little details on the frame just to kind of highlight the details a little bit. And this just shows off a little bit of the articulation without the armor on. The back can bend all the way back. It looks like a broken back. And stretch those arms out all the way. Just some more test posing with the internal frame. I do want to note, I only really use the eye stickers for the two main camera eyes. I didn't use the foil stickers for the rest of the camera eyes. I just kind of kept those the way they were with the clear green. I just think it looks nicer. So a little bit of a close-up of that, of the leg detail there. Here's look at the inside of the shoulder joint here. It just kind of comes out and swivels forward. It's a very similar joint system that Bandai's used on several other real grade kits and probably even some master grades, I think, to this point. So it's kind of, I think it's becoming kind of the standard on most kits now. And here's the crouching pose. It does it very well. And splits, well, how far the legs go back and forth here. And you can balance it with the foot all the way up, all the way down, just like that. Alright, so here's the kit with the everything on, the body armor on and completed. The very nice looking kit, straight out of the box. It's not nearly as many panel lines on the surface as you would think, so it's actually not too bad to work on in terms of panel lines. Close up of the torso here. As usual with sticker markings, they will tend to show a little more on the darker parts than on the white colored parts, so again, that's just something you gotta deal with the stickers. I mean, it's kind of a given at this point here. Shot of the back of the kit. Again, despite me using the recommended sticker markings, it doesn't really feel like there's a whole lot there, but yeah. So I was like surprised that there's actually no sticker markings for the back of the forearm. I kind of expected there would be something there, but there isn't, according to the manual. Here's a shot straight from the back here. The action base connector kind of goes into a little spot like right here, right in the middle here. There's that back of that forearm with the extra beam saber. Again, testing the arm articulation out just to kind of see how far the right arm kind of is swung out, right, all over the torso, and the left arm is kind of stretched all the way up. And here is a little bit of the elbow bend with the torso bending as well. And again, showing out the torso bending back, kind of in that broken back pose. And pulling the torso up a little bit, you can kind of get to squat over for a leaning in pose. And it's testing out kind of an action pose, kind of like step forward and punch pose. You know, like when he's punching the Sazabi in the head, that sort of pose. I don't know if you can hear my soda there. Just needed a sip of water here. Anyway, crouching pose again with the cockpit hatch opened up. There's a little bit of a close-up of that. It's not really much to see inside of there. But it does do the crouching pose really, really well. Just have to make sure to pull the hip down so it has a little bit of extra movement range for the upper leg there. But here's the leg bend. Pretty nice leg bend. The little thruster on the back of the lower leg will actually move down a little bit just to kind of give you a little bit extra clearance for the upper leg. So pretty nice. Here's just another look behind it. You can see a little bit of detail on the bottom of the foot here. And this here, the foot ankle will actually kind of slide back and forth a little bit inside the bottom of the leg, and that'll actually cause that front section of the leg to kind of move down a little bit, so you can see a little bit of that silver foil sticker that's on the internal frame there. On the back here, there is a little bit of an extension inside the hip that can kind of move the upper torso up a little bit to give you a little bit more of a forward crouch position, more of a forward crouch articulation. Also, the little flaps on the back of the backpack can open up, kind of like what's shown right here. Also, the back of the skirt armor kind of opens up to have a little slot on the back, and that's where you would store the beam rifle when you're not when it's not being used. Again, no pose here. One leg up on my display stand. Lifting the armor up on the shoulder armor so you can kind of see inside the shoulder joint there. And these are these little flaps that kind of open up on the torso here. There's this bottom section that kind of folds down, and part of the armor on the torso would slide forward just a little bit to reveal a little bit of the stuff that's going on underneath. But again, as I mentioned, this is really more for the heavy weapon system stuff, not really to show off the internal frame, at least in my opinion. And also down here with the skirt armor as well. This just kind of slides down to reveal these two little slots, and that's obviously for the heavy weapon system stuff to be attached to right there. Same thing on the leg. This little piece will actually slide forward just a little bit, and there'll be a little slot here for the heavy weapon system stuff to be attached to right there. Alright, so here's a new Gundam with all the stuff on it. The shield, fin funnels, hyper bazooka, and beam rifle kind of stowed away on it. Let's look at it from the back here. There's the beam rifle stowed to the back of the hip. Hyper bazooka just kind of sticks right on to the backpack right there. It fits on really nicely. Beam saber sticks onto the backpack as well, and the fin funnels stick on to the other side, and they stay on pretty well. So here it is up on the action base here. I will say that as well built as this kit is, it is a little bit side heavy with everything equipped on it. So I think with all the stuff on it, you might want to put it on a stand. Otherwise, it has a tendency to kind of either tip backwards or tip over to the side a little bit with everything on it. Here's a close-up of the action base connector and how it sticks in underneath there. Again, I'll show that off in the live view. It's a lot easier to explain live. So a little bit of an action pose here. More posing, and just kind of trying out the beam rifle. Beam rifle grip. The beam rifle is pretty nice. I actually like the beam rifle. It's pretty nice. It's not overly complicated. Nice and simple. Shield is nice with one caveat, I would say. I'll probably explain that in a bit here. Here's the hyper bazooka. It goes on pretty well. As I mentioned several times, posing kits with the hyper bazooka is always a little tricky for some reason. Like, you always have to really do a lot of finagling to get the bazooka in the right spot. It's no different here. You gotta do the same thing, so. But I think I got it on there pretty well. In a somewhat natural looking pose. And reach your mag to get that beam saber. There's that wonderful looking beam saber that the new Gundam comes with. I really like this thing. This nice big, sort of like a blade type beam saber. Comes out the front with a little bit that comes, tiny little piece that sticks out the other end here. I'm doing some posing with the saber here and the open hands. And there's another shot of the beam saber here. Oh yeah, the wrist here. There is a wrist joint inside the forearm, and there's also a wrist inside the hand. So that'll let you move the wrist joint of the hand like really far, so you can get that saber pose in a really nice position for this. And just the secondary backup beam saber. This little piece will slide back, and the beam saber will pop out. The mechanism doesn't work all that well, but I guess it works well enough, but you're probably going to have to finagle with it quite a bit. I know I did, especially when trying to get the beam saber back in. It's not the easiest thing to get back in there again once you get it out, so just be patient with it. And here's with the backup beam saber. It's a plain old beam saber. There's really nothing else to say about that. Alright, fin funnels, you get 6 of them. They are laid out right here. You can fold them up into their attack positions or attack formation, I guess you want to say. Now here's a nice thing about this kit is they do give you the option to do the double fin funnel setup, even though you don't really have like 6 fin funnels, but you can still do it with the 3, with the, sorry, start of. They don't give you a double set of 6 fin funnels, like 12 fin funnels total. You can still do this with the 6 fin funnels you get with the kit, just to have 3 on one side and 3 on the other. It still works out really nicely. So you can have it set up like this. So I very much like that they give you that option with this kit. I like having options, so I do like that you have the option to do this with this kit here. So if you want to just have a different configuration, you can. And here's just all the accessories that come with the kit. So going over this, we got our shield, we got our main beam saber, beam rifle, the 6 fin funnels, the hyper bazooka, the backup beam saber, extra saber blade, action base adapter, extra fin funnel attachment unit, and your hands, you get 1 trigger hand, 2 open hands, 2 saber holding hands, and 2 fist hands. Also, you get this little tiny Amuro Ray figurine as well. And just for some quick size comparisons here, the Real Grade Nu Gundam is just a smidge taller than the 1/100th scale Master Grade Gundam F90. It's a smidge taller than it. And compared to the old RX-78-2 Gundam, you can see here it's a good, probably like 2 head heights taller than the classic Gundam here. And next to the Sazabi. Sazabi is still like a smidge taller, a little bit. And next to the Unicorn Gundam, Nu Gundam is still bigger than the Unicorn Gundam, even in destroyer mode. It's still bigger. I wonder how many people actually knew that the Unicorn Gundam is still smaller than the Nu Gundam. It's just a little bit smaller. Alright. Alright, I'm going to switch over to the live view here, so we can talk about a few other things here. Alright. So, there goes my fin funnels right there. I'm going to take those off. They're probably going to fall apart anyway as I'm trying to do things here. But, let's see, that needs to go right there if I can get it back on there. Alright. I'll talk about the fin funnels in a moment here. But here is the Hyper Bazooka, how it's attached in there. It's a little tab right here. Bazooka folds out, handle folds down, and grip it in. Pretty simple construction. I have noticed this little tab here is kind of, even after like maybe like a few uses, it is starting to kind of wear down. I noticed a little bit here, but it's not a big deal. But I have noticed that the little plastic here is kind of wearing out to kind of grab that here. Now with the beam rifle, I'm going to go ahead and pull it off here just to show you here. Beam rifle slot holder is kind of like right here in the front. So that'll tab into spot on the back here. Let's pull that down and just stick that in. And when I think about it, I probably should stick it in this way, because this was something I mentioned during the live build. I was kind of wondering about if it should go in like this. It would make more sense. That way I can actually reach around and grab the beam rifle like that, instead of, you know, having it like this, which I don't think makes nearly as much sense to me, because the Gundam can't really reach the beam rifle too well now. I'm just saying, you know, worrying about that. Now the shield here, I did mention the shield is nice, but there is I do have one problem with the shield. I wish I could adjust this up and down a little bit here, just to kind of extend the range of motion a little bit. Also, I do think the positioning of this on the arm is a little bit awkward. Like, I would rather have it attached to the side of the forearm, like right here, instead of the back part like here. Because when I try to like move it forward here, it's kind of... I've noticed when posing, it kind of gets in the way of the thin funnels here. Let me stick these on just to kind of show you here. But I can get this without the whole thing falling apart on me here. But yeah, as I'm trying to pose, even with a straight standard pose, the shield is kind of rubbing up against the fin funnels here. But I can't really get it forward far enough here without moving the whole shoulder forward like that. I just think it looks a little awkward to me. It may just... It's just my opinion, I guess. Also, sometimes this, the shield will pull this piece off. I'm gonna see like that. There we go. Yeah, it pulls this off. So it's not, and it's weird because it's not really like a super strong connection, but it does pull this off, and now I gotta get this back on here. Now it's just, yeah. Anyway, speaking of the backup beam saber here, show you how this thing comes out. Supposed to pull it back. Well, I think I probably knackered this thing, or the shield knackered it already because it doesn't work. That's what ends up happening. Why is it not working? I don't know. Well, that's what happens when you do a review live, unscripted, is sometimes things are going to happen. But these are things that are going to happen when you're trying to work with the kit anyway, so it's like, it's good to know this anyway. Yeah, this thing's not working now. Okay, we'll just move on, because I'm not going to spend 15 minutes trying to figure that out. I have a review to do. We have other things to talk about here. Head sculpt is pretty nice. Just kind of show you how far it can lean back here and look forward, like so. So pretty good neck mobility. Again, shoulders, pull them out, go forward, go up, like so. Pretty good range, no problem there. Arms, rotation, elbow joint, good. This wrist joint here, go up like so. Now this is just a fist right here. The holding hand, Saber holding hand, let me find one here. This one here. This one has an additional joint inside the wrist, right there. Just for a little extra articulation, so pretty nice. Inside the torso here, if you lift the torso up a little bit, you can get that bend back like that. And also have it bend forward like so, as I showed off in the pictures here. Back here, these little thrusters will open up a little bit like so. It's not much, and that moves up and down. Cockpit hatch here, just kind of show you real quick. Better to use a toothpick for this. Just kind of slide that open like so. There is another way to open this up, just to kind of pull this whole front section forward and kind of move it up, but I have found that every time I try to do that, I end up pulling this thing apart. So I don't know. Okay, there we go. You can kind of get it open like that, or just pull the whole thing off. I think I wouldn't really bother with that, since it's really hard to get this open. I guess you gotta get your fingernail up under the front collar here, and then pull it forward, and then something, I guess, I don't know. I'd rather just open this piece up. It's the way it's supposed to open anyway, so. Screw armor, move up, out of the way. There is a joint to kind of have this attached to this, the side piece here. These are connected together and they can kind of rotate back and forth a little bit. You can see right there. It doesn't really get the skirt arm out of the way too much though, so I don't really see if it's really that useful. It's not that useful a point of articulation is what I'm trying to say. It doesn't really get the front skirt arm out of the way all that much, so. But you can kind of see up inside the hip joint here. There's a little tab on the bottom here. Pull that down. Now you can pull the hip down like so. And lock it back in place, and that gives you the extra articulation out of the hip right there. Go ahead and stick that back the way it's supposed to be, like that. Alright. Here's your splits right away. Here's the leg bend. Now see this little piece back here, this will actually slide back just a little bit, like that. Slides back for the leg bend, so pretty nice. I like that. Going on down at the ankle here. I said this piece will move a little bit as you move the ankle back and forth. Like that. Like that. See? There's a foot all the way forward, all the way back. And side to side. So, overall the articulation of the kit is actually really good. I have pretty much no problem with the articulation on it. I would imagine when they get to the High Nu Gundam, which is coming out at the end of the year, they're probably going to use a very simple. I don't know if they're going to be using the same parts as this, because from what I'm aware, the High Nu Gundam is a little bit smaller than the actual regular Nu Gundam, which I've always found kind of strange. Like, I figured they would be the same size, but they're not. The High Nu is actually a little bit smaller. There's that extra joint that's kind of back here. It's really hard to get to. You have to kind of flip this little piece on the back up. Not the easiest thing to do, because that's actually a lock that's holding this in, and I can't really get it because it's really hard to do. And the toothpick do it. Nope, toothpick is gonna break. The toothpick is gonna break when I do that. Come on. Come on. There we go. Alright. It's not easy to do. And there is a joint. Slide up just like that. And you can lock it in place again just by putting that down. You know, there is supposed to be another joint inside the in the front up here, but it doesn't seem like it's really essential to me. You can move that forward just to kind of have a little bit more down like that, but I haven't really found this joint to really be that useful for anything, so I just kind of leave that alone. Just my opinion. Anyway, that's kind of about it for the main Gundam here. Let me show up how you put that this action-based connector on. And actually you have to attach it to the backpack first. You have to take the backpack off first to get this on here. There's a little clip right here that needs to clip on right here, like that. And then you just stick the backpack back on, like so. So it goes on like that. And then you can stick it on your action base. You do need to have this little piece on the action base with the peg. You can't put it on without it. So you do need to have this piece on here. This kind of goes right in there. That. And then on the action base. So it's a pretty good connection, and actually with the way this is set up, you can still stick the Hyper Bazooka in here. It will just kind of fit just like that. Just gotta make sure you got this back part kind of out of the way as much as you can when you get it on here, otherwise you won't be able to get the bazooka on here. That's the only thing to kind of keep in mind. Put the beam rifle back on here. Alright, let's talk about the fin funnels here. So, you got 6 of them. Take them apart here. Alright. So the way these hook together here, there's actually two little tabs. There's a tab right here, kind of swinging around, and also swings around to the other side too if you need it to. So it goes like that. And there's another little tab right here. Pull that out of the way if you want. Pull it back out. This tab here is really more for stability, I've found. This one is actually for attaching to the other fin funnels. This is for stability here. But they will fit into little notches. See how well I can show that here. There's actually two sets of notches on the side here. There's a lower notch and an upper notch right here. And that corresponds to this little peg right here. You want to attach it to the lower peg. You need to line it up and put it in like so. And if you want to attach to the upper peg, you have to line it up with the upper peg, line it up, and see, I can see that. You need to make sure this is actually flipped around so you can actually get the actual peg in there. That'll attach like so. So, pretty nice. It works really well. And if you want to do the double fin funnel, you can flip this around to the other side. And you can connect it to the other side of the fin funnel. Like so. Like that if you want to. Or even a little lower down if you want. Like that. So, the only thing you're going to be missing is that stability peg that's on this side because you don't have it over here. So, but otherwise it'll still stay together if you want to have it like that. And for the fin funnels themselves, of course they have the joint inside of them, so you can just pull them together like so. Have them like that. Now you can't really stick any type of peg or anything in the back here. You probably would have to make something custom to stick in here to hold the fin funnels up for a pose. Or you'd have to get the fin funnel effect set for this and have it actually attached in here. So it would have been nice if there was an actual hole, regular peg hole back here, but there's not because there's just a little, it's a slot, not a peg hole back there, so this is something to keep in mind. But yeah, that pretty much covers the Real Grade Nu Gundam. But the last thing I'll probably mention, oh yeah, before I round out here, anybody's wondering how easy it is to switch this out on here. Before I end here, this just comes right off. That just comes off like that. So if you want to switch it to the double fin funnel mode, it's really easy to do. So you don't have to take the whole backpack apart to do that, which is again pretty nice to do. So but yeah, other than that, that's pretty much all about I really have to say about the Real Grade Nu Gundam. It's a good kit. I like it. It was a fun build. It's pretty well balanced in terms of detail. It's got great articulation. It's the fin funnels, they stay together pretty well in this kit. Probably the only caveats I would say is that with everything on here, it is a bit side heavy. It will try to tip over a little bit or fall backwards a little bit. So again, that's why I recommend get it action base for this. And the other thing is the shield. I don't really like the way the shield connects to the arm. I think it looks a little awkward. But that's just my opinion. So anyway, going on 40 minutes here, so getting a little long here. So I'm just gonna close this out here. So anyway, this is a recommended kit. I think it's a definite thumbs up from me here. So if you're interested in it, and if not, you can always wait for the High Nu Gundam, which is coming out at the end of the year. It'll probably be similar to this, but probably not exactly the same. Of course, it won't be the same. Anyway, hope you found that. Hope you found this review informative and entertaining, at least in some regard. And if you liked the video, please leave a like. It's always appreciated. Lets me know you care so much about my one man's lowly opinions on plastic model kits here. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time with some more reviews. Take care. Bye-bye.